The Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association presents Freshman Focus. A look at 2-year-olds in training across the Buckeye State. Freshman Focus is presented by Eldorado Scioto Downs, now racing Tuesday through Saturday, post time 5:45. By Sugar Valley Farm, looking for your next quality standard-bred racehorse? Look no further than Sugar Valley Farm in Delaware, Ohio. And by the Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center, caring down to a science. And now here's your host, Roger Houston.
Welcome to another edition of Freshman Focus. We've made our way to Delaware, Ohio, the home of the Little Brown Jug, to talk with trainer Brian Brown about his Ohio-bred 2-year-olds in training. After these messages, we'll sit down and talk with trainer Brian Brown.
Racing is back at Eldorado Scioto Downs. Catch the excitement all summer long. Live racing every Tuesday through Saturday nights. First race post time is 5:45. Mark your calendar to see the future stars with a $150,000 Next Generation July 6th. Thrilling harness racing at Eldorado Scioto Downs. One track, 90 racing days, 100% action. Horse players can earn points with the new Caesars Reward Program. Eldorado Scioto Downs. Racing returns May 9th.
Welcome back to Freshman Focus, as we're going to sit down and talk with trainer Brian Brown. Brian, let's get it out of the way. What happened to Geocentric up in Canada?
She raced pretty good, but come up weak down the stretch late. Scoped terrible with mucus, a 3 out of 5. And I take all the blame because after elimination races, we always scope first and then pull blood. And I was concentrating so much on she was crooked in the elimination and her gait wasn't as good as it should have been. That's what my whole mind was geared toward. We did pull her blood when we got home, but I did not scope her. I think if I'd have scoped her after elimination, we would have caught it before it got bad.
So nothing serious though?
No, she looked great. She was going straight, her gait was better. We fixed those things, but I missed one.
Yeah. Okay, now let's get to the 2-year-olds in training. Once again, all Ohio breds that you got that we're going to feature today, but I notice they're all pacers. You still haven't got a trotter yet.
I had a 2-year-old trotter this year and we quit with her early, but she was a Pennsylvania horse. But no, we don't have owners that really buy trotters. We're mainly pacers.
Now, do the owners get involved with you before the sale, or do you buy the horses and then they look at what you've got?
I have a few that I buy and we get owners for. Might only buy 2 or 3, 4 at the most. Most of my owners are very involved before the sale. They pick out the pedigrees the most, and I do looking, confirmation, but a couple of the owners go with me or go on their own and look at confirmation.
Do you have a set price that you won't go any higher when you go to the sales?
I do not, but I mean, they're the ones buying. Yeah. They do most of their own bidding, so they pretty much set that. So if I'm buying for myself, sure, it's not very much.
What determines whether you remain as a part owner on the horses?
I don't buy very many of our own. My wife likes to own hers by herself. We do have a few partners once in a while, but I like to get them going and sell them, and a lot of the owners are in this to buy them and race them. So we do it to buy and sell, make a profit so we can buy some more the next fall.
And you've even sold some this year before we get to the qualifiers.
Yes, we sold a really good Catch the Fire filly to Todd and Greg Luther. Greg's been really good to me. I've sold a couple horses to him for really good money.
Fact is, that was a quick deal, so to speak, because Greg wanted to come up with a new name on the horse.
Yeah, we sold her on a Thursday and she qualified on Tuesday.
Of course, she doesn't know what her name is, does she?
No, she don't care. She's a really nice horse.
Have you ever gotten rid of a horse that you wish you'd have kept?
Oh, sure, and I think she's one of them.
Yeah.
But there's been others. Last year we sold 7 colors. And, I knew I was giving up my last chance for the Jug and the Breeder's Crown for a 3-year-old. but the money was good, and it was just a good business decision.
It's strictly business. You can't fall in love with them.
Sure.
Yeah. How many 2-year-olds overall do you have this year?
I think we still probably have at least 30 in the barn. Some of them are behind, not ready to qualify. A handful's probably, we just trained in 2 minutes on Wednesday that will be qualifying next Tuesday. Another handful that's been in 2:10 that needs to go there another time or two. Another group that's been 15 to 20. And some of those 15 to 20 are my best colts. They're PA breds, but for one reason or another, they got behind, needed rest, and they're coming back.
Did you take all your 2-year-olds to Spring Garden this season?
Yes, all 40 of them went this year. Yeah.
How was the winter down in Spring Garden?
Not very good. It was cool, which is no big deal, but we had a lot of rain down there this year, and that's bad at Spring Garden because it's clay and sand, and the track doesn't hold up well after rain. So it takes a while. We went a month. 1 week we didn't train a horse, and for 3 weeks we only trained once a week, and that doesn't fit my schedule very well.
So were you able to catch up before you came north, or is that why some of them are behind?
2-year-olds we were fine with because we can get caught up. It hurt the 3-year-olds more than it did the 2-year-olds.
Now, the Ohio breds that you had, of course, primarily a lot of them are down by the seaside, so that's understood, but you do have quite other styles. Do you have any lather ups?
I don't think I have a lather up 2-year-old.
Because everybody that I've talked to this year just loves those lather ups.
Yeah, I've had a few lather ups and they've been okay. This year we have some Seasides doing good, but I have 4 Catch the Fires. 3 of them qualified here Tuesday, and all 3 of them won, and they all were very good.
I noticed when I was talking to Todd Luther on his Racing Focus that most of the Catch the Fires that they have were ones that they purchased at the sales, and of course the one you just sold was a Catch the Fire.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good for Ohio. It's especially good for us owners that there is another sire that looks like they're going to be a nice horse here in Ohio. The Seasides have been dominating. I still think he's going to do very well, and in the next couple years his broodmare band has really improved. They're going to be even better. But to go to a sale and try to buy a Seaside, you have to pay a lot of money. If Ohio can have a horse like Catch the Fire that can rival Seaside, it will be better for us trainers and owners.
We'll also notice because of the Ohio breeding program, there's a lot of Ohio breds now selling in Lexington.
Oh, sure. There's a few sell at Harrisburg, but there's a lot sells in Lexington, and they're usually the dual eligible, Kentucky and Ohio, and that makes them bring even more money.
Yeah. Last time we talked, the employee situation was pretty bad. Has it got any better?
No, you know, we are okay, but you know, it's still a problem. There are people here that still are in need of help. Fortunately, we're okay. Most of my grooms take care more than they used to, so they've stepped up and helped us out a lot. Of course, they make more money when they do that, so they're happy to get the money.
And you have a good bunch of employees.
We do. You know, most of them have been with us a while. We have a few newer people, but most of them have been here a while.
Do you have anything for the next generation?
I have a couple fillies. I have a well-said filly that qualified here. She had a flat tire, so her line doesn't look good. But Guard the Fire qualified good, came home really well. She is probably, of the two, the one that'll probably go in.
Thanks, Brian. We appreciate you sitting down and talking with us. And after this message, we'll go to the barn and take a closer look at Brian's Ohio-bred 2-year-olds in training.
At Ohio State's Galbraith Equine Center, our veterinary champions are here for your champions 24/7, 365 days a year. Our expert team of boarded surgeons, sports medicine and rehabilitation specialists, together with veterinary cardiologists, internal medicine, and ophthalmologists, make our hospital your best resource for all sport horse performance issues. The Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center's Galbraith Equine Hospital. Call us today at 614-292-6661.
Welcome back to Freshman Focus. This is the 2-year-old colt, Johnny Smash, by Down by the Seaside, out of the mare Cinnamon Girl by Rock and Roll Hanover. Johnny Smash, you know how he got his name?
No, I don't know if he was named that at the sale or Doug Overheiser owns him, if he changed it after he bought him. This horse spent the winter with Irv Miller.
Oh.
We got this horse around the 1st of May, and he's an okay horse. Once he learns how to race and want to be a winner and beat people, this horse could be a nice horse. Right now, he likes to follow.
Nothing about Irv Miller, but you like him where you can break and train him for yourself, don't you? So rather than get one that somebody else has broke.
I do, but it's okay this way. Irv has sent me a few others in the past, and they were ready to go, and we did well with a few of them.
When you buy one from, or another trainer or something sends them to you, do they tell you pretty much what you need to know?
Yeah, everybody works together. When Irv knew this was an Ohio bred and he would be going somewhere else, so he understood from the beginning.
Now, he was strictly up here, or was Irv down south as well?
No, Irv was in Florida. I know he had some back trouble, but he was in Florida, I'm sure, most of the winter.
Do horses change when they come up from Florida to Delaware?
Oh, not a lot. I mean, if anything, when we first get here in April, it's cool, so they're ornerier. But ours are pretty ornery in Florida too. So no, not until you really start going on with them, then they really start learning what training and what you're wanting them to learn how to race. That's when they start really changing.
Now, we've talked about the weather down at Spring Garden. How's the weather been since you came back north?
It was the same. When we first got home, rained. I bet it rained 3-4 times a week here. But, you know, this track can handle more rain. Down there, you can't. But we got trained more when we needed to up here. It might have been longer days some days because we had to push them together, but we got trained.
This is the 2-year-old colt, Johnny Smash, by Down by the Seaside. This is the filly Guard the Fire by Catch the Fire, out of Gargantua by the Ponderosa. A filly that qualified the other day.
She qualified really well. They went a slower half, I don't know, 101 apiece maybe, to 102, but she paced 59 apiece, got home 27-4. She's been one of those that have been pretty smart, a little too aggressive right from the beginning. Once we started training, she kind of figured it out right away. So she's been no problem. Only problem is keeping her quiet. Now here in the barn, she gets a little too nervous, so she gets turned out every night. I take them out to a farm 7 miles from here. She goes out every night, and she's really responded to it.
So you think that's put a, I don't want to say a dull edge on her, but less aggressive?
Well, it's calmed her down.
Yeah.
Yes, she's actually better on the track, but what time she spends here, she isn't in tearing her stall up, walking, shaking her head, weaving. She was kind of doing it all at one time, and now with her out, she comes in and she's much calmer in here.
Real attentive. She's standing here just like she does it every day.
Yeah. Before, she'd just be a little nervous. Even just standing here, she wouldn't like it.
Do you change the equipment on them to help them too?
We have. When they get too aggressive, even my 2-year-olds, some 2-year-olds won't wear an open bridle because they won't focus. But the first thing we do is open the bridle, ear hood, try to get them to calm down. Then we'll add bits if we have to. And some of them get, once you open them up, they get a little too dull. And then we'll put an eye hood on with holes to kind of make them in the middle somewhere, aggressive without being too aggressive.
There's so many things you can do. They don't all work the same, so you might have to change them quite often.
It does. It's trial and error with young horses, and it helps with her because she wants to go, so it isn't as hard to rig her. But yeah, you just have to try things.
This is the filly Guard the Fire by Catch the Fire. This is the gelding Coastline by Down by the Seaside, out of Sassy Q by Rock and Image. One of the few geldings that you got, was there any particular reason?
He was just awful bullheaded when he was here and getting broke. You'd lead him out of the stall and you want to go outside to hook him and you couldn't hardly stop him. He wasn't like scared and taking off. He just wanted to walk right over top of you. And it took him a while, but after gelding, we didn't geld him till we got to Florida, but within a month, he turned into this. Just a nice horse to be around, does nothing wrong.
Looks like he's a good size.
This is a pretty good size colt. He was a good size horse at the sale when we bought him as a yearling.
What'd you have to pay for him?
I think he was 46. He was actually a buyback. The country club stable raised him, bred the mare, owned the mare, and bred her to Seaside, and they bought him back from the sale.
You've had a lot of horses for them over the years.
Yeah, we've had some pretty nice ones together.
Will he match up with them?
I think if he comes back, he's a little behind. He stepped on a foot last week, had to get stitches. But when he trained when he got home in April, probably in May, he really turned a corner and started to turn into a nice horse. And from probably 215 to 28, he was as good as any Ohio bred I had.
When you say they turn the corner, sometimes they turn a lot of corners.
Well, what we mean by turn the corner is they went from being average to they're really starting to come around. They're figuring out what's going on.
Once they qualify and get to the races, do they turn another corner?
Sure they can. You know, some of them turn the corner and get better, but when you're racing, then they have to all really turn a corner and really get good.
I don't know. I guess you've had some that have been great until they got to the qualifying stage and then became a problem horse.
We've had both. We've had the ones that were really good, and then when you go fast, things go wrong. And we've had the ones that have been average, and once they get behind the gate a few times, they turn into horses.
So what we're saying is they're almost like human beings. They're all different in some respects.
Sure, it's something, us, we all have to learn what our jobs and responsibilities are, and sometimes it takes some of them longer than others.
This is the gelding Coastline down by the Seaside. This is the colt He's a Beach by Down by the Seaside out of Pink Camo by Pine Valley. Pink Camo was quite a mare.
She was a really nice mare Ronnie Burke had that we raced one with her, and we thought we had the best one until Ronnie bought her, and then she was. But at the end, Ronnie's mare got sick and ours won the final that year, so it turned out good for us.
Now, Down by the Seaside, Pink Camo. You think the offspring's going to be super?
Well, he has, I believe, a sister. I think her name is Coastal. That was a really good mare. A Seaside that made maybe $500,000. So yeah, we think he's going to be a pretty nice horse.
We've asked a lot of the trainers when we've talked to them this year, which is the most important, the sire or the dam?
Oh, I mean, Down by the Seaside is my horse. I love that horse.
Oh, you're prejudiced.
Yes, but we've always go by the mare.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to buy a Down by the Seaside out of a mare that's had 5 foals and none of them ever raced. You know, so we want the pedigree on the mare's side, and there's certain studs we like to buy from, and of course Seaside's one of them.
Now, He's a Beach. How's he been out on the racetrack?
He's ornery. He does a lot of squealing and jumping around. So, but he, when it's time to go, he's good.
Now, you say he's ornery and such, but not to the point you would geld him?
Well, no, we try to leave him studs and, you know, to grow and get stronger. But, you know, we've had Down by the Seaside. My other owners had Pebble Beach with Noel. Joe Sabracos had Captain Treacherous. So we're always on the lookout for that. But the ones that aren't behaving or won't go, they have to be geldings.
How much you been with him?
He qualified the other day. I think he won in 2-1, but it was a slow half, slow 3/4, and he got home pretty well.
You don't mind those slow halves and slow quarters, do you, if they really come home?
Right. You don't. The main thing is don't go too fast. If you go too fast too soon, things start going wrong.
As you can see, he's a colt.
He's an ornery horse.
This is the colt He's a Beach by Down by the Seaside. This is the colt Sea Cruise by Down by the Seaside out of Sassy Lady Art by Artificial. Another one that qualified Tuesday.
Yeah, he qualified good. He was in the back in one of the slow halves and 3/4. but he got home decent. So next week we hope that we get away a little closer and the fractions are a little quicker, and I think he'll really look better next week.
Who's the go-to driver for Brian Brown?
Well, on the young horses, the sire stakes, I try to get Ronnie Wren first, and then we fill in on who, if I can't get him, or if I got two in the same race, then it's just whoever I can get.
Do you try to get somebody to stick with them all through the season?
Well, we do, but like Ronnie's the guy I want to stick with him, and then after that, it's just whoever you can get. There's enough good drivers out there that it's not a worry.
As much as He's a Beach was acting up when you had him, this one seems pretty calm.
He's really give us no trouble all year long.
Yeah.
He's been pretty quiet, so he's still a stud.
He has not got a lot of size either, though. He's kind of small.
He was a smaller horse at the sale, and he has grown. And if he was out of the stall, he'd probably look a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
But his size won't bother him.
But he's between the 2 and 3 year old season. He'll also probably have another growth spurt.
He will grow, but he'll never be the size of a bigger horse. Yes.
This is the Colt Sea Cruise down by the seaside. This is the gelding Copper Penny by Fool Me Once out of Free and Easy by Western Ideal. Named Copper Penny, he's got a little copper to him.
Yeah, he's got a little reddish color to him, but and that's actually part of the reason he's a gelding, is he was a little spooky, but he was also a ridgeling, so they needed to come out.
Now, this was a homebred, right?
Yes, I believe the owner's from maybe it is Canada, but it could be up in Alberta or somewhere way up north somewhere.
How did he get hooked up with Brian Brown?
Out of the blue, I don't know, 5 years ago, he had a McCardle brother to this horse, McFreely, and he started texting us on Messenger on Facebook, and we went from there, and McFreely turned into a nice horse, but I think this one's he's going to be faster. I don't know if he's going to be as good, but he's definitely, I didn't have McFreely as a 2-year-old. We got him at 3, but this horse has ability.
Another one that qualified this week here at Delaware.
He was really good. They went a half and won a mile 57. He paced home in 26 and 4. That's with the near hood on. That's just to keep him quiet because he does get spooky. But when we put the earplugs on and we pull him, I think he'll be even better.
Was he on the engine?
No, he was following Prolific Fire, the one we sold. So he was sitting in the 2-hole, but he kept right up with her.
Didn't get rambunctious or anything
No,
in the 2-hole?
he was behaved very well. Tyler Rush has been training him all winter, and Tyler's a perfect guy for a horse like this. He's very quiet, very light-handed, and the two have worked well together.
Tyler Rush has been with you for a number of years.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll bet it's been over 10 years.
Yeah. I notice he's always in the training sets. It's easy to identify Tyler when he's out on the racetrack.
Yeah, he's a tall, skinny redhead, so you know who he is.
This is the gelding Copper Penny by Fool Me Once. This is the 2-year-old colt Pants on Fire by Catch the Fire out of American Myth by American Ideal. Now, you're now in the jug barn here at Delaware and remodeling one of your barns that you've had for years. Getting these horses used to the jug barn. Have you got a jug starter next year maybe?
Well, we pay most of our 2-year-olds up to the jug, so I'm sure he's eligible.
Yeah. This one is still a colt, and I love the name, Pants on Fire.
Yeah, he came from the sale with that name. Been a nice horse from day one. Didn't do anything like spectacular, but when we got home, Roy Thacker owns a piece of him and has trained him, and he started letting him go a little bit, and this horse has turned into a really nice horse.
Did Roy drive him in the qualifier?
Yes. Yeah, he qualified in 59 apiece, a quarter and 27 and 2 on the end. This is turning into a really nice horse.
Now, he'll have an additional qualifier or a couple of them maybe?
Well, mainly just one. We'll go here next week as long as everything's okay. If time were permitting, maybe I would throw some of these in a 2-year-old non-winners of 1, and possibly even qualify a 3rd time if I thought they needed it. But if Sire Stake or Stallion's coming up wherever they fit, we will just wait and go there.
Do you like to put them in those non-winners of one, maybe that first time?
It's okay, but if we do, we don't expect a lot, because if we're going in a race like that, take them off the gate, you set in and you just run them home late.
Yeah. Out on the racetrack, have you sat behind this one much?
Very little. Roy's done most of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you've watched him.
Oh yeah. If you see him from the side, when he's especially going faster, you can tell his gait is really nice. He's not an overly tall horse, but he's got some length, and that really helps his stride, and he can cover the ground really well.
For a colt, he seems pretty calm.
Yeah, he, new things he can get a little spooked at, but he learns quick.
This is the 2-year-old colt, Pants on Fire by Catch the Fire. This is the 2-year-old colt, Back to Rock the Town by Pet Rock out of Jenna's Back in Town by Towner's Big Guy. Another one's still a colt.
Yeah, he's okay. I hope he behaves when we start going away from home. He has got a little wound up at times before, but when he's in his stall and on the track, we're fine. I just hope he behaves when it's time to start traveling.
He's seems like he's pretty tall and everything, but he's not real broad, is he?
No, he's not. He's a really good looking horse. He's not a heavy horse, but he's good size. The Pet Rocks are getting a little bit older, so when we picked this horse up and they brought him in, I was pleasantly surprised how good a looking horse he was.
Do horses lose a lot of weight during their racing season?
They can. You hope they don't. You hope they actually gain a little, but a lot of horses, especially now, it's 90s, going to be 90 for over a week. They can lose weight just in that week.
And you have to kind of monitor that pretty close, don't you?
You do, and you treat them maybe with something for stomachs, and you add a little bit of grain if they'll keep eating.
Yeah.
But there's things you do to try to maintain them.
This is the colt Back to Rock the Town by Pet Rock. This is the gelding Seaside Star by Down by the Seaside out of Rock and Roll Example by Rock and Roll Hanover. Memory serves me correct, this is the one we had to go back to the barn for an equipment problem and then put him in the next race.
Yeah, he's the one that they held up the race because there was a pylon in the track.
Oh, that's right.
And with him out there having to make turns, he stepped on a shoe. So we got him, we scratched him out of that one. They let us put him in the next race. I got the shoe on. It wasn't very good, but the blacksmith came yesterday and fixed it, put it on right.
How did he qualify, though?
He qualified very good for him. He's another one that we had to geld because all he wanted to do was play. He didn't want to train. He just, even jogging, every step was a play for him. Since he's been a gelding, he's coming around. He qualified, I think, 59, a half 57 maybe. So he's coming when when he turns that corner and he decides he knows what racing is, he'll be okay.
You think that'll happen? Have you had him down at Scioto yet?
No, his first qualifier was here, and it usually, horses like him, 3-4 times, you put them on the gate, they get in with the crowd, then they finally start figuring it out.
Will you eventually take them down to Scioto and before their first start?
We're going to qualify here again next Tuesday, and if time allows again, if we'll either qualify again or maybe even an hours of one. Yeah. But if it's too close, we'll wait and go to either Stallion or Sire Stakes.
And that's the second week?
It is. I'm thinking we're around the 11th or 12th, I think.
July. Yeah. This is the gelding Seaside Star by Down by the Seaside. This is the filly Princess by the Sea by Down by the Seaside of the Wildfire Princess by Towner's Big Guy, another one that qualified.
Yeah, she qualified okay. She had trained last week and actually tied up a little bit. So we qualified her, we treated her, we changed her grain, qualified good, did not tie up. So we were happy even though she didn't go a huge mile. Yeah. She finished good and did not tie up.
This is a filly that's got some good size to her.
Decent size. She's actually a full sister to Seafire. He was just second last week, the Meadowlands, in 47-3.
Now, most of your Ohio breds are eligible to Buckeye Stallion Series and the Sire Stake. You don't stake too much at the county fairs, do you?
No, and that's more owners. They don't really want to go to the fairs. you know, with expenses now, we can't make enough money at the fairs to justify it. The ones we own ourselves, I pay them up to it. You know, my son and son-in-law, they would go if I need them. But it also, if I want to sell one, it gives you a different group of people looking at your horse, and that might be where that horse needs to go.
Fact is, you had one the other day you sold.
Yeah, and it helped us that she was eligible to the fairs. She was a nice, hard trying, but she was not a sire stake horse, and we decided to cash her in. That worked out well for us.
Do you usually able to tell whether you got a sire stake horse early on?
Well, usually you have a good guess. Now again, once you start putting them behind the gate, sometimes the lazier ones start getting it and can figure out what racing is, and they'll turn into a lot better horse than you thought they were.
This is the filly Princess by the Sea by Down by the Seaside. This is the filly Lorna Dune by Down by the Seaside out of Tripleton, Hanover by Shadow Play. Qualified the other day as well.
Yep, she was one of them that set in the back too, and slower fractions, but paced home pretty good. So she's coming around. Early she got a little too aggressive. And we actually opened her bridle up, and she actually got too dull. So she went back to the blind bridle, and she's handling pretty good now.
So it's, would you get to the races, you might have to change again?
Well, we might. You know, we can open their bridle up to calm them down, or some of them we open them up to wake them up.
Is she eligible to the stakes?
Oh yeah, she's eligible for everything in Ohio, maybe even 2 races in Lexington this fall.
I understand there's a number of Lorna Dunes, but the one Lorna Dune that I remember was a cookie, I do believe.
Yeah.
And you know I would know the cookies.
Yeah, the cookies, yeah.
Calm filly though.
Yeah, she's not been a problem all year.
Is she a front end horse?
No, she came from behind in the qualifiers, sat back there fine. I'm sure she would go on the front. She'll be okay.
When do you decide to, let's say you qualify and all from the back to back, how do you make the decision maybe sometime to send her? Post position?
Well, I think it's more the group of horses you're in with.
Yeah.
Post position sure helps, but that's more of a driver decision than my decision.
You're glad you don't have to make those decisions.
That's right. Yeah.
When you hand the lines over to a driver, what do you tell him?
Very little. I want one opinion in their head, and that's theirs.
Yeah. This is the filly Lorna Dune by Down by the Seaside. This is the filly Allegrissimo by Well Said out of Traditional by Western Ideal, a horse that had some problems in the qualifier.
Yes.
Not problems she had.
Right. She had a flat tire at the 3/4 pole. She was on the front, and you know, when you get a flat, you get tired quick.
Yeah.
And she did go backwards. More of the horses, other horses went forward, but it's hard on them. So she didn't finish like she should have. She was racing very well up to that point.
Flat tire puts a lot of drag on them. And
Well, and plus the tube got wrapped around the hub, so it had even more drag on it.
now, looks like she's got pretty good size.
Yeah, she's always been a tall filly. I don't think she changed much from the day we got her. She was great gaited from day one, could pace the first day we put the cart on her.
You mentioned she was free-legged. When did you decide to put the hobbles on her?
We put them on all of them probably, I'd say at least 3 weeks to a month from the time we started breaking them, as long as they're behaving.
Once you put them on them, though, you don't go back to being free-legged?
We keep them on at least till close to the 1st of February.
Yeah.
Used to wear them clear off April. And horses have gotten so good gaited anymore, and we could probably take them off the first of the year and they'd be fine.
Yeah. You have high hopes for her?
Yes, I think she's going to make a sire stake filly. She was qualifying really well, and she was on the front, which usually she's not, but she was going right down the road the other day.
When a filly or colt or anything finally gets to the top one time, it's cutting it out, does their whole attitude change?
Some do. Some get there and they don't like horses to pass, and they'll get more aggressive. We like them to come from behind as much as they can in the early races. But when you're qualifying here and nobody else wants to be on the front, you have to be.
This is the filly Allegrissimo by Well Said. Well, that wraps up another edition of Freshman Focus. We'd like to thank Brian Brown, his second trainers, and all the caretakers for making our job very easy this morning here in Delaware, Ohio. I'd like for you to join us again, same time, same location for Freshman Focus this Thursday, a special edition right before the next generation with Race Secretary Jason Roth. Be there!
This has been Freshman Focus, a look at 2-year-olds in training across the Buckeye State. Freshman Focus is presented by Eldorado Scioto Downs, now racing Tuesday through Saturday, post time at 5:45. By Sugar Valley Farm, looking for your next quality standardbred racehorse? Look no further than Sugar Valley Farm in Delaware, Ohio. And by the Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center, caring down to a science. Freshman Focus is a presentation of the Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association.